Welcome. I've just come back from my lunch with my mum and we popped into a local tree nursery and I picked up a couple of junipers. I'm not exactly sure what variety they are, but they look quite nice. I got them cheap, so let's get to work on them. These plants were just marked as mixed junipers. There were a few different varieties, but I like this one because it's got a kind of quite a healthy upright growing style. A lot of junipers tend to weep down, so this is something different. And I love this bluey green colour and the sort of orange stems, so yeah, quite a nice tree. First thing to do is get this one out of its pot. It's got plenty of nice root. I'll just tease away a bit of this peat that's on the top just to see what I'm working with. It's blowing a gale again today here, every single day. It's crazy. I'm sure it's not like this down in London where Wimbledon is. Now, that's interesting. This low branch down here is never going to be part of the design, but I've noticed that it seems to have kind of rooted. So what I'm wondering is, if I can cut that off and separate this, will that grow as a plant? I think it might. It just so happens that this plant has snapped there anyway. I don't know if I did that in transportation or it was already done, but it's a good place to cut it anyway. And that leaves me this lovely little juniper with some roots on it. All of these roots appear to be coming out of one side of this branch. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually use that and kind of plant this in that style there. Just for something a bit different really. I'll take this plant with the roots. Just create a bit of space for it there in the soil. Spread the roots kind of out. And then on top of that, I'll then add some more soil. This is very dry, this soil, because it's been in my garage. And it's obviously, it's on an angle, the tree, which is what I want, with the roots coming out of the bottom of the branch. And I just water that in, and that's a little bit of a freebie. Now we get back to the main event, which is this little tree. I'll cut that stump off properly now, back to the main trunk. We've also got another branch up here that could be ginned or something like that, but to be honest, it's so small, I'd rather just remove it. And there's a couple of other branches just above it, so I'll leave that there. Pinch out the dead bits of dead brown dying branches to see where we are, and then let's have a look at the rest of the structure a bit higher up the tree. I've definitely got options with this tree. It's got some quite naturally good taper because of different branches like this one that have died off and the lower branch that I've removed. But this, for a first branch, is quite thick. And although I could gin it, I'd rather just take that off. So that's gone, and I'll just cut that back to a nice, neat chop. So that I'm happy with that so far. I go higher up the tree and I've got the main leader that comes upwards here, and I like that. I like the movement of this. I think it's really good. But out from here, I've got a branch that comes and then divides into two, and that's quite thick. It's quite thick there, and the question is, I'll just remove a little bit of this crotch growth there just so we can see it a bit better. The question is, do I want a trunk that divides into two fairly thick branches? And again, the answer for me is no. So I'm being quite drastic and taking that one off as well. So I'll leave these on here. There's one nice little branch there that I'll leave to grow. And I can now begin to see the shape of this tree in the future, now that I've made some decisions on how this is going to sort of look as a bonsai, hopefully moving forward. And it's got really nice taper. Once these wounds heal up, it's on its way. I'm really happy with how that's gone there. I've removed, I would say, 50% of the foliage, maybe just a touch more, but probably around half, which is a lot for a juniper. But doing it at this time of the year, I've not disrupted the roots. I give that a good water now. That's going to be absolutely fine, and that'll grow on. I've developing, you know, I've got some good taper going. There's some nice branches, and I can really just leave that and possibly look at applying some wire in the winter. Now for the second plant. Let's get this one out of its tub and have a look, see what I'm dealing with. I'm going to start off by just examining these roots, because I've got a feeling I might have two trees again here. I'm not going to do a big job on it, but I want to split these if I can. So I'm just easing away the surface roots with my chopstick, like that. And then I'm going to pull on this plant here. And yeah, I've got two plants here, so I'll kind of tease these roots out. I can see it's torn off the main one. Let's just tear it up. There we go. We've definitely got some roots on this. I want to get rid of the roots that were attached to the other side. But yeah, got quite a few roots there on this piece, so I'll get this potted up. In terms of the other tree, this is also obviously got plenty of roots on it. I'll just brush this to the side because I'll be using my own compost mix. Yeah, and I've got some nice roots on this piece as well. Unfortunately, just as I separated these plants from one another, my neighbours started doing some pressure washing, and it was just all too noisy, and I had to get these wired and in the soil and watered, otherwise the roots were going to dry out. So I'll show you what I've done anyway. This was the main piece of tree with the best roots on it, and all I've done is applied some wire. I think it's 3mm wire, and I've just really sort of twisted the trunk around. So I've gone with some fairly crazy movement on it. I've kind of rested it on the edge of the pot to support it, watered it in, and I'll just leave that now to grow for at least a year, I would think. This one is a bit of an interesting one. As I tore the two trees apart, this kind of developed a natural shari right up the side of the trunk. So what I decided to do was twist it to add some interest, so that if it does survive, that kind of natural, well, it's not natural, but the shari will twist around the trunk and it'll look quite interesting. I don't know if it'll make it, this one. I mean, it's really had a lot done to it down there, and I've got a feeling this one's going to die, but you never know. As I say, I needed to get it watered and in the pot straight away, so it's just to watch this space on this, and I'd say it's got 20% chance, that one. These are some of the cuttings I took all I did is I simply took the branches, stripped some of the lower foliage off, dipped them in rooting hormone, and then placed them in these pots with some potting compost. I'll get them watered in now, and hopefully they go on. And that was a bit of a shame that you missed the wiring and the bending action on those trees, which is really the fun bit, but I really had to get working on them quickly to get them watered and in. If I left them to dry out, it was going to take ages, and it's probably been a good half hour, so I'm glad I did that. Hopefully you got an idea of my methodology, which is very much try and create a plant which is going to make a good bonsai in several years' time. I'm not interested in trying to make these small garden centre plants look like a bonsai now. I want to remove the lower branches, get rid of any potential inverse taper, get rid of thick branches, so that I've got some good solid material in the future. Ice cream van. It's crazy around here today, what can you do? Anyway, as always, thanks for joining me, and have a great day.